We want this candle here.
That's fine.
No promotion. Awesome. So my name is Kari Sab. I'm with Keller Williams Realty. I have with me today Andy Alberlin of Alberlin Home Inspections. And today we're going to be talking about the common misconceptions with home inspections.
Thanks, Kari.
Absolutely.
Well, like we were discussing before we did this video, there's a lot of misconceptions about the home inspection. It's something that people don't have very often in their lives, but obviously realtors have to handle inspections on a regular basis. But I think we had kind of discussed that there were three major misconceptions about home inspections, and so we wanted to discuss that today and to educate people about the process of home inspection and what that really means. So if you'd like to.
Yeah, so as soon as you have a accepted offer on a property, typically within 7 days of that acceptance, you're going to have, if you choose to, you're going to have a home inspection conducted. And I always recommend my clients be present for the home inspection, and it's really a huge benefit. It's another layer of protection against your future purchase. And what I mean by that is you'll be able to get a up close and in-depth look at the home. And with your home inspector, you will go through the property and really get down to the nitty-gritty and get to see the bones and all the details you probably didn't see the first time around.
I absolutely agree with that, Kari. I've been doing home inspections for over 10 years now, and definitely it is a very integral part of the home buying process. It does give you a second look at the home, and usually at that time with no pressure or any of those feelings, the inspection tends to be more of a laid back time to go through the house. You've seen it once before and you're starting to feel the excitement of, this could be your next home. One of the common misconceptions that we had discussed that I just encountered here, actually via a Facebook conversation, was I had a young lady, and she had reached out for a home inspection recommendation, and a few friends of hers had recommended myself and another local inspector from what I had seen, and if she had gone with either of myself or another inspector, I'm sure she would have had a good experience and gotten the information that she needed. Then there was another friend that chimed in, and she said 98% of inspectors miss a lot of stuff, and that she would be better off just getting a good contractor to do a walkthrough with her. Now, I'm assuming that this other friend may have had a bad experience, either with an inexperienced inspector or one that was very kind of what they call an alarmist, where they kind of get off on showing you things that are going to scare you or make you feel aghast, okay? And there are those out there, and they give the rest of us that are really serious about what we do a bad name. One of the things that I want to talk about is I know a lot of contractors that are very knowledgeable about homes and about the systems of homes, but what they are not is home inspectors. I've been in the construction trades for over 20 years, and I know a lot about that, but it is doing the home inspection, being able to perform this inspection on a consistent basis, being able to relay to your client the information that you find in a way that is not meant to scare them but to inform them, to document that information appropriately so that it can be used by all parties within that real estate transaction, being the buyer, being the buyer's broker, And even as far as the seller is concerned, because if you're going to go back for negotiations, they need to have a clear understanding of what was found and why it's important. So those things are really important that a contractor is not necessarily going to be able to do effectively. And then lastly, because I am a licensed home inspector, that inspection is a legal document. So it gives you the power to either walk away from the deal if it's more than what you anticipated, or to go back and renegotiate that deal. So that's where a contractor that's knowledgeable about homes and a home inspector that is licensed with the state of New York, that's where there's a big difference between the two.
Absolutely. Has a lot of good points there, and then also too, like he was saying, we can then take that information and when I'm working with buyers, what I do with my clients is we both review the document in depth, and then we will discuss further on what we feel is necessary to move forward in the transaction, whether that be get a credit at closing or have the seller fix some repairs. And typically, you know, I always explain to my clients that we're really looking for health and safety issues, as well as structural issues. You know, nothing as far as like, you know, replacing the face plates on the electrical, for the electrical covers, stuff like that. And then shifting gears into the next one, which is one of my favorite ones when I'm always out at the home inspections, is the pass or fail.
Agreed. I get that a lot. If I tell people I was out on inspection today, they'll ask me, well, did it pass? And I think that this misconception comes from most people, the only real inspection that they've had is on their vehicle. And so, you know, you take it to the shop, and if the brakes are bad on it, then it fails. And then you're required to fix it, and if not, then they won't put a new inspection on there. And that's not how it is with a home inspection. It is not a pass-fail thing. And I do think that makes people a little afraid. Like, oh, this house, I know it needs some stuff. It might not pass. And then they get worried about the inspection. And that's not what the inspection is about at all. You know, I can go and do an inspection on a $400,000 mansion in this area, which would be a really incredibly nice house, or I can go do an inspection on a $15,000 mobile home, okay? It's not about pass-fail. It's about looking at the systems that are in place at the time of the inspection and the condition that they're in, and then reporting on those conditions that are found. So it doesn't matter what condition the house is in. There is no pass-fail. It is for it's for the peace of mind of the person that's purchasing the house, and it is just a document that documents the state and the condition of the house for the real estate agent at that time by a neutral party, so that a good decision can be made and then proper protocol can be followed.
Right, exactly. I mean, what he's saying is his only interest in the property is the home inspection. So there's no bias, you can't be biased towards the house in any way when, you know, if you're the seller, you're biased in your own ways, and the potential buyer is also biased in their own ways as well. And then, so even when I'm out showing properties, a lot of times I'll hear that, oh, this will never pass inspection. And I always ask, what do you mean by that? Are you talking about a home inspection, or are you referring to what banks do, and that's an appraisal, to determine whether they're going to loan the amount for the purchase price, and also to see if there's any repairs for the property. So if the appraiser comes back and says that you know, there's a couple of repairs that are needed to be done, and then outlines those, that's still not necessarily a fail, because 9 times out of 10 the sellers are more willing to get those repairs taken care of and handled.
Agreed. Really, when it comes down to it, in every real estate transaction, everyone wants the deal to go through. And so the more cooperation there can be with that, then the faster it's going to go through. Usually the ones that don't go through is where there's one party that is not willing to cooperate, and those are pretty rare. Now, what was the third misconception that we were talking about, Kari?
That's a great question.
Do you remember?
I do not.
Actually, I know what it was. It was, is it worth it
Oh, that's right.
to get a home inspection?
How could I forget? Is it worth the money for a home inspection?
Right. So this is something that I encountered through the years, and the question is it worth it for me to get a home inspection? And of course, as a home inspector, I'm going to say, yes, it is worth it. But really, if you look at it pragmatically, if you look at it in a logical fashion, okay, a home inspection, a typical home inspection in this area is around $350, whether you go with me or you go with any of the other licensed inspectors. That the industry relatively sets that price. Some may be a little higher, some may be a little lower. So a lot of people in this area will say, well, that's almost what I make in a week. Why, you're only spending a couple hours on this home inspection. And one of the reasons for that is every real estate agent has a horror story about an inspector that took between 4 and 6 hours on an inspection. Not a one of them was happy about that. Neither was their client happy. So it's not a per hour rate, okay? There's also a lot that goes on behind the scenes other than just the at-home or the in-house inspection. For myself personally, I guarantee a 2-hour in-house inspection, okay? And within reason, I always hit that mark. And that's a matter of efficiency for all of the parties involved. Now, there is typically several hours where I am at home doing my report that is not seen other than just the result of those few hours in that report coming out and being very clear and concise. The other thing, if we think logically about is it worth it to get a home inspection, is this is the biggest purchase that you're going to make in your life. If you're a first-time home buyer, there is a lot of trepidation and questions and a lot of that can be alleviated at the home inspection. Many people that have a home inspection, especially first-time home buyers, when they get done, they have a sense of relief because they feel like they really know what they're getting into. I know when I bought my first house, I had an inspector and he was really great, and the job that he did with that inspired me to get into this industry as well. And I can tell you that the house that I bought was really subpar and needed a lot of work. So the way that he handled that showed me a lot about the right way to do things. And lastly, if we just want to look at it from a monetary viewpoint, typically that $350 home inspection is going to find enough things that could be remedied, or if you want to negotiate on the price, that typically you would be able to get either the $350 back in savings, or a lot of times it's more, especially if we find a larger item, as if the roof needs some repair or replacement, the furnace. Those are basically two of the largest ticket items in the house. And I'm sure that Kari has had lots of experience with other things that he could share with you about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the thing. A lot of times I think it's human nature to get caught up on the monetary physical amount when we really should look at it from a step back and see what does that $350 get us and what is that saving us potentially down the road. If you think about it, if you're buying a house for $100,000 and something happened and you didn't get a home inspection, and I came to you after the fact and was like, and said and asked you, would you, knowing what you now know, would you have paid $350 to not be in this situation? Probably 9 times out of 10, everyone would say yes, because that $350 really will go a long way And to Andy's point, it's a great time to further negotiate as well, as far as like possible credit for the roof, a furnace cleaning. You know, there's so many different things you can do within inside that the realm of just getting a home inspection.
And let's not discount the value of peace of mind.
Correct. Absolutely.
That, I think, above all else, is really what it comes down to. And I've met so many home buyers that electricity really scares them, and they come at things with different fears. And by the time we get done with the home inspection, they'll tell me, I feel so much better now. I really feel like this is the right thing. You know, this felt right. It just, when I walked in here, it felt like it was home, but I've been worrying about such and such. So that value of peace of mind is huge, and may even be more valuable than all the other things that we've discussed previously.
Yeah, absolutely, and I would agree. And not only that, but the amount of education you'll get during the home inspection is, I mean, that's priceless as well.
Agreed. And I'm sure I can speak for other home inspectors. That is one of the things that I enjoy most about the job that I do, is connecting with people at that moment when they're starting to realize, they're just about to realize their dreams. A lot of times our homes are the places where our dreams come true, and it's, for me, it's such an enjoyable experience to connect with people at that point, and to help guide them to that point, and give people like Kari the tools that they need to help literally bring that home for people, because there are so many hoops that need to be jumped through in the real estate experience, and this is just one of them. That this can be really a powerful tool, and for me, it's, the house brings us together, because that's the thing that we're all focused on. But really, it's about the people, and that's the stuff that you'll remember. So for me, I really feel blessed to be able to provide that experience for people, and to be able to provide that service. And I love working with people like Kari, because I believe that they share the same passion.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. And one of the reasons I really like working with Andy, and always recommend Andy, is because of his expertise and knowledge and experience that he's gained over the past 20-some years of, you know, buying a house, and you don't have anyone, you can't, you know, pay for the labor, and I'm very similar, because it's so expensive, so you just figure it out. So that experience is, you know, that's I mean, there's no value you can put on that, because it's invaluable because of how much knowledge and experience that, and he's very meticulous on the work he does. So it's always fun to get together with him and do a home inspection. Plus, it's always, you know, makes light of the most stressful situation. So it's really nice. But want to wrap it up here and say, if you're in the market for a home inspection, definitely look into Andy Alberlin with Alberlin Home Inspections. And if you want to just give your best way to reach out to you.
Well, and you can reach out to me through Facebook, or you can call me direct or text me. My number is 585-297-8198.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being here today, and I look forward to doing some more home inspections.
Thanks very much, Kari. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Have a great day.